All right. Welcome to my talk. My name is Corey Petty. I am with Status, and the name of the talk is Status Socially Challenged. For those of you who know who Status is, we've been a social app since the beginning of all of Ethereum, and I'm going to walk you through a little bit of the history of what social crypto means and why I think we may be messing it up and what we're trying to do about it. So, who am I? That's strange. Let's try that again. There we go. Who am I? My ENS username, corepetty.eth. You can Google my name. I've been around the ecosystem since 2012. That's my buffercorn. Seems appropriate for being in Denver. My day job, I've been doing security at Status for about 4 years or so, trying to make sure that what we build doesn't break. You can't take our money from us without us knowing it, and you can't shoot yourself in the foot at the same time. Now, I've recently switched to infrastructure, which is something I'll be talking about a lot more later on in this year, but for all intents and purposes, for what you see today, when you think about what runs this stuff, I'm in charge of trying to make that happen. But today, I'm going to talk about client-side stuff, what you're going to be interacting with, and more broadly, what the concept of social crypto is, which you all have an idea of, whether you know it or not. I'm going to try and elucidate it for you and then tell you some more. I also do some podcasting, which I've been doing since early, maybe 2015, the Bitcoin podcast and Hashing It Out. The Bitcoin podcast, that's more infotainment, fun, whatever, it's entertaining, and it covers a swath of things. Hashing It Out, way more technical. I dive into why this stuff is supposed to work, why people think they are going to do something about it, and I try and poke holes in things. So, take a listen. So what is Status? If you've heard of us, or you have downloaded our application in the past, you've probably seen this. This is the front page of status.im. This is our crypto wallet. And inside of our crypto wallet, which you can download on both Android and F-Droid and Apple and whatever, it comes not only as your ability to manage your crypto assets with Ethereum and some layer 2s, but it also gives you a secure messaging app. It gives you the most secure messaging app such that you have strong confidence that no one can intercept your messages and we're not taking metadata from you. In my opinion, it's the most secure messaging app on the planet. We also have a dApp browser, so you can view Web3 dApps, and your wallet that's integrated into the application can interact with it. So this is the interface you've seen. This is probably what you know. But in reality, we do a lot more. And for those who, I tweeted out a bunch of stuff. I've handwritten all my slides. I don't know why I felt like doing it. This is what I did. Sorry about it if you don't like it. So we work on all levels of the stack. For those of you who only know the interface to the mobile application, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about what we do in everything else. We started out as a way to try and be an interface to Web3. We quickly learned that in order to provide that, we needed a bunch of infrastructure that no one was building. So we set out to try and build that stuff too. And that involves VAC, which is the conglomerate or the group that manages the decentralized messaging platform, which took over Whisper. For those of you who know the Ethereum white paper, if Whisper was the original Holy Trinity decentralized messaging application. We've absorbed that, made it better, more scalable, and more amenable to chat applications and machine-to-machine applications. Nimbus is our Ethereum 2 production client, which runs the Beacon Chain node currently, and a few other things. And in the process of building that, we also re-implemented libp2p in a programming language called Nim, which Nimbus uses. We have a key card, which is our hard wallet application, which is a Java card, free and open source for anyone to use. We use it within our application for better managing your keys so they're not sitting on mobile applications. And now we have a beta application, which is our desktop, which I've released some slides and I'll show you later. But on the application layer, more in terms of what you're interacting with or what you can interact with is symbol, ENS username. We've done a myriad of things, right, from the top to bottom. Just to let you know that we're not just a messaging app. We do a bunch of stuff. And if you go back to the original white paper, you'll see that we had an idea of what social crypto was back in 2017. And I'll read this out loud. I'll read my slide as you read it. What if we could flatten these roles? What if users of social networks possessed a real stake in the networks they participate in? What if we could align incentives for all parties to create a network that naturally promotes behaviors that benefit all participants? And for those of you who use social applications today, that's probably not the feeling you have. So what is social crypto? What is this concept I'm trying to get across? And in the news, you'll see a tremendous amount of things that allude to this concept of social crypto. Aave just recently released the Lens protocol. They're here. They've talked about it. Myriad celebrities of interest are talking about crypto, but when they reference it, when other people ask them why they care, they usually reiterate that it's the network and the community, right? Balaji has been talking about social crypto or decentralized Twitter forever. Friends with benefits. Why would you buy these? Why would you buy access to these things? You think about the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Social crypto is, decentralized social networks. Assange DAO is a group of people that came together to try and raise money for a given cause around a given asset. And so we have smattering of ideas around what this is. But we all kind of know. So if I ask you simple questions like, what's the standard characteristic of a BTC hodler? You all have ideas, right? And what binds them together? Bitcoin. It's this decentralized scarcity that somewhat encapsulates an idea, a group of ideas, and that's what binds them together. The value of all of these networks is community, period. The only reason why any of these things have value is that you convinced people to rally around a certain set of ideas, and these crypto tokens encapsulate them and give them value. Another one is DAO. How many times have you heard or seen the word DAO today? Uncountable. What does it mean? Is there one type of organization? Do that organization all work the same? And do they all care about the same things? Is there a set type of autonomous to an organization? Or the preferred level of decentralization? Like, all of these things are muddled, but the concept of a DAO is a group of people coming together for some cause and then some asset that allows them to influence decisions in some way or have reputation or gain value or whatever. And so, we get it. Social crypto is a thing. People have social tokens so that they can maybe convince you that you can buy their time or whatever. We all kind of get the idea. And in my opinion, what I'm trying to tell you is that this has been around for a long time. Bitcoin is a social crypto. Ethereum is a social crypto. It's only social. So, are we building that? Is this the type of stuff that we're moving towards? Is this, when we talk about creating new things or influencing new people or on-ramping new people into the ecosystem, are we giving them tools that push them in the right direction? And so I'm going to go through somewhat of a comically incomplete history of digital scarcity real quick, which will then lead into the next slide, which illustrates why I think we're doing it wrong. So, from left to right, you see time. And this is somewhat of an incredibly incomplete list of things that have happened along that time frame. We have Bitcoin and Doge and Litecoin starting in the beginning. They're all kind of clones of the same thing, but you get the idea, right? There's some scarcity. People liked it. They came together. They ran the client. They then tried to trade on a terrible exchange called Cryptsy in the past, whatever. I've been around for a long time. Ethereum happened, and nothing really happened in between there that I really care about. Ethereum happened, and then explosion. We have the DAO happened soon after that, and of those who've been around time, really have a strong idea of how that changed the idea, right? That was the first encapsulation of let's really programmatically list why people are coming together and what they can do with these assets to make changes, right? Now, I'd say the DAO made a pretty flawed decision in not letting humans be in the loop of those things. And we have the community manager in the room. He can tell you all about it, right? But it was this first encapsulation of let's come together and then try and be a community around making change around these assets. And then we had the ICOs, right? We encapsulated the standard of ERC20, and then boom, we have us, Status, Aragon, Gnosis, MakerDAO, all these things happen all in once, right? We're like, we can make tokens. We can convince people that with things we care about, they can give us money for the tokens, and then we have this community of people. We try to make this thing reality, right? A new way of raising money for a given set of ideals. And then DAOs weren't really a thing for a while. And then Moloch DAO came along and said, we're doing DAO again. And then that blew up, and things are happening, and I missed a bunch of stuff, but whatever. NFTs happened, then chains, and now DAO, right? And we're at a point in today where it's kind of like this, right? If anybody's watched Rick and Morty, it's, would you like to build a DAO with me? It's, how can I convince all of you to join me around this set of ideals and then make money off of it, make change? I don't know, but it's kind of what you hear as you walk around today, right? So, here's a less incomplete history of how we coordinate around these things, right? So here's a backdrop of the exact same slide, but here's the tooling we use to talk about it. In the early days, it was an email newsletter, Reddit, certainly bitcointalk.org. If you heard about a new project, it was on bitcointalk.org. Then you have Twitter, and then later on we moved on to Discourse, and Slack became a huge thing until it was awful to use and it was scammy. People wanted to get out their message, so then it was Medium. Gnosis came along and said, we're making a multi-sig. Cool, something on chain. Great. Nothing happened for a while, and now we're all on Discord and Telegram. And these things have bots that we subscribe to or bring on as an administrator to then try and bring in this concept of crypto to then gate who's involved, who gets to join, what permissions they have, et cetera. Gnosis Safe came along and said, we made a wallet because we got to build infrastructure. And the rest of the ecosystem was like, sweet, we have a wallet now for multi-signature transactions. Great, on-chain stuff. Then on Substack. Medium wasn't very good anymore. They canceled a couple people, whatever, et cetera. And then we kind of made Snapshot, which is this idea of like, voting on chain's too expensive. Let's find a way to do it off-chain that still has some of the ideals of crypto. So the idea here, and at the very bottom, it's all AWS. We host everything on centralized infrastructure that we don't have any control over or whatever. The point here is that we care a lot about community and the assets that represent those communities. But for some reason, we don't give a crap about what we're using to coordinate around it. We use whatever's available to us. Now, it's useful, it's convenient, but I think we're making a lot of trade-offs here. And it kind of looks like this. We have our assets in Web3. Assets kind of ride the line. Smart contracts give us an option to like gate a little bit of who gets to change things on smart contracts. And we try to use those as best we can, but it's cumbersome and it's expensive and so on and so forth. And the rest is just whatever. We use what's available to us. And it brings me back to this concept that it's been reiterated over and over and over again as I've been in this ecosystem, is the medium is the message. And it's this concept that we can try to say something, we can try to do something, but the underlying technology that moves it around to the people we're trying to communicate to actually shapes what this message is. More so in some ways than the message we're originally intending. We have to shape our relationships to the technology we're using instead of the opposite. And I'd like to change that. So here's a small tangent that is a separate but reasonable thing to talk about. Here's a smattering of wallet software that we have today. Now, this is not representative of the entire thing, but, and for those who may be critics, status is the top middle, so I'm not bringing ourselves out of this. What's the unifying theme here? When you look at all these interfaces of, when you look at your wallet, what are you focused on? Price. We bring new people on here and we try to tell them about the community aspects and all the cool things that we care about and the ideals of crypto and Web3 and so on and so forth. And they download a wallet, they see price. That's all they see, that's all they care about, and that's the underlying motivator of what you do when you interact with these things. Does that jive with what we're trying to get people to do when we talk about community or DAOs or social? I don't think so. So now that you have an idea about this concept of social crypto, how we're currently building things, and why I think it's kind of broken or moving in the wrong direction, I'm going to show you a little bit about what we at Status are trying to do about it and why and what we want you to help us do. And that is move it all over to Web3. as much as we possibly can, such that it's native. When you look at your wallet, you should be able to find the people who you're trying to connect with. The communications that you're connecting these people with should be using the same technology, using private keys and not your phone number or email. And so we at Status want to try and bring these things together, and it's very open. We want you to help us because it means this technology moves in the right direction, not we capture this and you have to use this. So, we're announcing a feature that we call Communities, and I did a talk a while ago which disclosed some new designs around our desktop application, and mind you, here's a level check. These are designs. If you download the application now, it will not look like what I'm about to show you, but it is certainly the direction we're motivated to go to. So here is the redesign of our desktop application, which you could consider a better Discord for crypto, right? It's where your friends are in the communities you care about based on the assets you have in your wallet. If you look at the bottom, it may not be very easy to see on the screen here, but it says, in order to chat, you need to hold 0.1 Ether, have 10 S&T, and 15 mana in order to post. Otherwise, you're just reading. On the right, you see a myriad of people who are online. You see kind of a bunch of indicators of who they are and who they say they are and what you think about them. On the left, you see a series of channels that have maybe different token things. On the left, you see kind of your standard scrolling list of the communities you belong to because you're trying to find alpha, right? On the back end, as an administrator, for communities, you have the ability to set permissions based on a myriad of things, right? You can set permissions for channels, for communities, for individual users. You can send these people tokens so that they can have the things you're setting permissions on, all within the application itself and not some CLI, which most people, here, a lot of people, most people can't handle, right? And so it gives you and your community a lot of tools to interact with each other in the way we think about when we think about Web3 communities and social crypto. Now, that's the end of the slides and my spiel on social crypto and the direction I'd like it to go and what we're currently doing to get there. Now, what I'd like to do is show you a reskin and reveal of our mobile application on the direction we're going and all of the ridiculous amount of features and work that's going into that. We'll release this to Twitter so that you can play with it because it happens kind of fast. And then, like I said previously, this is all client-side stuff. My job is infrastructure, so if you'd like to know how all this stuff is supposed to run, stay tuned or come talk to me. So, without further ado, here is a reveal of the reskin of the Status mobile app and its application to communities. Thank you.
If we have any questions from the audience?
It looks really great. I just had a question about censorship, perhaps on the platform. So nobody wants to be censored, but everybody struggles with you can't just have everything. And I see that you're putting in some things like holding tokens and things like that. How do you answer the question of there are things that possibly people would like to have censored, but on a platform that you can't do that on? How do you deal with that?
It's a great question. So currently in Status, using Waku, if any of you are on Status, you'll know the group chats today are rough. It's rough to have any kind of conversation in a public chat because we can't censor anything. We're answering that, especially with communities, by giving administrators the tooling they need to set the censorship level that they need, right? That meaning administrators of a given community can have it completely open and it feels much like a public chat today, no gating whatsoever, or it's quite censored. And then you have the option to either leave, start a new one, choose that. We as a platform, Status, have no power to do anything about that. We can't stop a community from existing. We can't change their permissions. We can't do anything. So you as a user in a community have the power to stay, influence, or leave and start a new one if you want to. We as a platform can't do anything about it. And we're not forcing you to use our particular token. So the value of the community stays in the community, or it forks, much like many of the things we've seen in the past. But like as far as the infrastructure goes, you can be damn sure we're not going to stop it because we have no power to do it.
Any other questions for Corey?
I'm really new to your app. Where do the messages live so that you cannot censor them?
Ooh, good question.
Are the communities running servers themselves? The app itself is a peer-to-peer protocol?
Yes, so the messaging stack. So are you familiar with the early Ethereum days and when the Ethereum white paper came out and it was about messaging, storage, and blockchain? And messaging part of that was called Whisper. We took Whisper. No one else, we started ICO under the guise that these things would be developed, but the main development process for Ethereum was the blockchain, and for a good reason. That's a hard problem to solve, right? So Whisper didn't get a lot of love. We took that, and because it couldn't scale, we adopted it, changed it, and now it's called Waku. The underlying messaging across the entire ecosystem is done through this, which is a peer-to-peer messaging stack that is run by the members of the community. And our vision, members of the community are running the associated infrastructure for their community and contributing to it and hopefully earning from it, right? The value of a community stays in the community. That's the problem I have with the earlier part of the talk. We're like, we have all the tokens, we're rallying around them, but we're giving all the value of the communication around those tokens to someone else and allowing them to extract it. We want to bring that back so that even the coordination around moving these assets around stays in the community. And that comes with a messaging stack, hopefully a storage stack, something that allows you and the community you're a part of to keep all the value there. So yes, the community members run this stuff, and that'll be a part of the UI, hopefully in an easy way, where you can turn it on and say, I got extra bandwidth, I'll relay messages, and hopefully learn from that. DAppNode, let's talk.
Any final questions for Corey?
Thank you. Hi, Corey. I don't think I get it completely. When you show the wallet, are you thinking about integrating with other existing wallet? Or are you guys going to create a wallet as part of the feature?
A wallet is built into Status now. Our goal is to expand that as much as we can such that the assets you have live wherever you want them to. In order to be a part of a community, that doesn't mean you need to take your assets from where they live and bring them to something else that we control, right? The wallet needs to be able to validate a myriad of different chains such that if we can prove that you have assets somewhere and participate in a community, and that's going to take a tremendous amount of work. And we're willing to work with as many wallet providers as we can to come up with standards such that it's very easy to understand what a given address or its keys or set of keys has control of across a myriad of different chains. So they have a single interface to navigate all that stuff without having to worry about connecting to the right RPC or understanding which asset lives on which chain and so on and so forth. And that's going to take quite a bit of work. For anyone who develops wallets here, the multi-chain world, which we're all moving to, is complicated, and users are not going to be able to manage it. So, like, yeah, the wallet will grow, and we need help doing that with other wallet providers.
Well, thank you so much, Corey. Please a warm round of applause for our speaker.